Call him a mad vigilante. Call him a hero. Either way, he's always on target.
He was the stoic everyman whose actions spoke louder than words.
Words, of course, are very important, but not that important.
He's always been a loner, and he's never taken anybody's crap from him.
You know, you look like you've been pulled through a knothole.
With a face that looked like it was chiseled in granite, he was an unlikely sex symbol.
He is intense. He is very sexy, and you feel an energy.
He was no pretty boy. He spoke poorly. There was no reason to make it except for the sheer force of his will.
Charles Bronson rose to the top of the heap in Hollywood the only way he knew how, by fighting for every inch.
Yep.
The small coal mining community of Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, was little more than a collection of company-owned shacks. Located a few short miles from Johnstown, home of the catastrophic flood of 1889, Ehrenfeld offered few creature comforts for its poor Slavic inhabitants. It was here Charles Bronson was born Charles Dennis Bushinsky on November 3rd, 1921.
Mining towns were all company towns. What that implied basically was there were no paved streets, no sidewalks. The air was filled with black dust of coal. It was a very dreary, bleak place to grow up in.
Charlie's father, Walter, had labored in the mines since his arrival in America from Lithuania. His mother, Mary, was kept busy raising the children who would eventually number 13 in the family's small, overcrowded home.
Okay, there would be the house. Then up that way would be the drift, down through here. Charlie lived about 100 yards from the drift mouth, they called it. That's where you went into the coal mine, the one number 8. The cars went right by his house, the coal cars. You could reach out and touch the coal if you wanted any, you could, as long as you wasn't caught.
At that time, we'd have to go out and look for junk to sell to the junk men, like old rusty old bolts and nails and railroad plates and, you know, things like that. And then to haul it to the junk man who lived 1.5 miles away, you carry this 100 pounds either in a wheelbarrow or on your back in a sack.
With his older brothers working in the mines to help make ends meet, Charlie was given the opportunity to get a solid education.
Charlie was the introspective one. He was the sensitive one. He seemed drawn to education. And all immigrants knew that education was the real path to the American dream.
In 1927, at the age of 6, Charlie began attending classes at Ehrenfeld's elementary school. The young boy loved art and spent most of his time by himself, sketching pictures.
He was very silent, kept everything to himself. He'd meet you and he'd just stare at you, and you'd wonder what he was thinking about. He wasn't much for words, believe me.
When his younger brother Tony fell ill, Charlie took it upon himself to care for him. Nothing he did, however, could help, and Tony died in 1932. The following year, after a long, difficult battle with coal miners' black lung disease, Charlie's father also passed away. The young boy was just 11 years old.
This was a period in which Charlie experienced his first serious loss in the world. And he responded to that by withdrawing even more into himself.
Charlie lost all interest in school and wandered the woods around his house.
Some guys call him Daniel Boone because he'd like to go out in the woods. And the rest of us, we all played baseball or football or something like that. But he just loved the woods, Charlie did.
Charlie knew that if he didn't do something soon, he would end up dying in the coal mines, like his father. Determined to take control of his future, Charlie made the mile-long trek to South Fork High School and enrolled as a freshman.
Charlie seemed for the first time in his life to take part. Not wholly, he wasn't the prom king or anything like that, but he became popular and accepted a part of his class.
In 1940, Charlie was the first person in his family to graduate from high school. The celebration, however, was short-lived. The lingering effects of the Great Depression and the death of his father had put a terrible financial strain on the family. As much as he hated it, Charlie went to work for the Pennsylvania Coal and Coke Company.
This raised his frustration level. I think he must have felt like a prisoner of his own destiny.
When America entered World War II, the frustrated young man finally got the chance to leave Ehrenfeld once and for all. In 1943, he joined the Army and was shipped out to the Pacific Theater. Stationed thousands of miles from where he had grown up, Charlie learned just how much the world had to offer.
I was drafted into the Army. Was it lucky for me? Drafted into the Army, saw what the world looked like, and started making decisions.
After flying over 25 missions as a tail gunner in a B-29, Charles Bushinsky was honorably discharged in February of 1946 with a Purple Heart and an opportunity to escape the mines forever. Back in the States, the economy was booming, and the GI Bill was giving millions of returning vets the chance to get a college education. Charlie took advantage of his veterans' benefits to pursue his love of painting and enrolled in art school.
When I got out of the Army, I started moving around, and I ended up in Philadelphia. And I was involved with a bunch of people who were artists of different sorts. Some were actors. So I was going to an art school at the time, and, you know, some were painters as well as myself. I was only learning at the time. And getting involved with some of the actors, you know, who were friends, I became interested.
Among Charlie's new friends was Harriet Tendler, a beautiful young actress he met while attending acting classes.
He projected an intensity and an energy besides being, knockout looking. But interestingly enough, he wasn't that excited about becoming an actor or anything like that. He was there because he heard you could make an awful lot of money acting.
Harriet recognized Charlie's quiet charisma, and she encouraged him to pursue a career as an actor.
Here's a young kid from a coal mine who doesn't really know how to speak, who doesn't know how to act, who has rudimentary artistic skills, and she's encouraging him to become more and more part of the group, and even to go on stage.
With Harriet's support, Charlie began to take acting more seriously and decided to move to New York City, the heart of the theater world. There, Charlie shared an apartment with another young, aspiring actor named Jack Klugman.
We were there making the rounds, studying to be an actor. He wasn't doing that well. There weren't that many jobs in New York, so he went to California to give that a shot, see what was happening out there.
With a new direction mapped out for his future, Charlie proposed to Harriet, and on September 30th, 1949, the couple exchanged vows before hopping on a bus for sunny California.
Charlie said to me, I'm going to give this thing 5 years, not our marriage, but the career. And if the career did not take off, then he would do something else. And I said, well, what else? And he said, I'll be a beach bum. Well, that was okay with me.
Charlie and Harriet landed in Pasadena, where they settled into a small bungalow on El Molina Street. Charlie began studying at the nearby Pasadena Playhouse, a school that had a reputation as Hollywood's talent factory. In a time when a new generation of unconventional leading men like Kirk Douglas and Robert Mitchum were heating up the screen, Charlie's rugged good looks captured the attention of the studios.
He was offbeat and he had an intensity. And this was during the time of Marlon Brando, with all the rough and tough men. He kind of fit into that mold.
In 1951, at the age of 29, Charlie won a speaking role in his first Hollywood film, 20th Century Fox's You're in the Navy Now.
Well, son, looks like you've got about 4 broken ribs. Well, can you put more tape on them or something, Doc? I got to fight tonight. Fight? And shove one of those ribs through a lung? Look, son, you're going to base hospital. I'm sorry, Skipper. I could lick that guy, too. I never should have went on that.
Forget it. It's not that important. We'll catch him the next time, huh?
The picture was only a modest success, but it led to a variety of other parts.
He did comedy. He did drama. He did tough guys. He did funny guys. He was quite diverse, and he was quite good. So he was really working with good people and good production.
Charlie's career was starting to take off, and he now felt financially secure enough to start his own family. On February 27th, 1955, the couple celebrated the birth of their first child, Suzanne Francis.
I had no idea what Charlie would be like as a father. And I was so pleased and so surprised. I mean, sometimes he took over, you know, where I wanted it to be my domain a little bit. But, I mean, she worshipped him.
While Charlie had carved out a good living as a character actor, he was afraid that his ethnic-sounding last name, Bushinsky, was holding him back. Hoping to rise above the roles he was being offered, Charlie decided it was time for a change.
We drove down Hollywood Boulevard, and we're looking at streets, you know, Ivar, Cahuenga, thinking what would be a good last name. We get to Bronson Avenue, and it was perfect. So then Charlie says, I think I want to change my first name to Mike. I said, no, you can't. I can't handle that.
The name Charles Bronson first appeared on the screen in the Warner Brothers Western, Drum Beat. Charles Bronson had come a long way from the coal mines of Pennsylvania. The 34-year-old now felt ready to take on starring roles and the kind of salaries that went with them.
Fred Flintstone, an employee of Slate Rock Gravel Company. His wife, Wilma, a stay-at-home mom. Yet on this working man's salary, how did Wilma afford a necklace made of huge rocks?
Mr. Slate pays well, but he doesn't pay that well.
An investigation would reveal that Fred had the Flintmobile insured with Geico, saving the couple untold amounts of money. Their friendship with the Rubbles would soon become strained.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I'm an eye doctor and a patient. My natural ability to produce tears is reduced by a certain type of chronic dry eye. I tried all kinds of over-the-counter eye drops, and they weren't enough. So now I use exactly what I prescribe for many of my patients, Restasis. It's the only prescription eye drop to help increase tear production, which may be reduced by inflammation due to chronic dry eye. Since Restasis helps me make more of my own tears, I use fewer over-the-counter drops. Restasis shouldn't be used by patients with active eye infections and hasn't been studied in patients with a history of herpes viral infections of the eye. The most common side effect is a temporary burning sensation. 1 drop, twice a day, with continued use, helps you make more of your own tears.
Go to Restasis19.com or call 1-866-608-6721 for this free information kit and a $20 rebate.
Don't wait for your annual appointment. Call your eye doctor today to see if Restasis is right for you. It is for me. Thanks, Restasis.
You've always wanted to know who's on Match.com, and we want you to know it's okay to look. We guarantee if you don't find someone special within 6 months, we'll give you 6 months free. And it's only at Match.com.
First, the bad news. 87% of this country suffers from digestive issues like occasional irregularity. No wonder our busy lives sometimes force us to eat the wrong things at the wrong time. Now the good news. I just discovered a yogurt called Activia that can help.
With the natural culture Bifidus regularis, Activia eaten every day is clinically proven to help regulate your digestive system in 2 weeks.
The other good news? Activia tastes great.
Activia. Still putting off getting into shape? Then come see what's shaping up at Bally. Try the new Bally Total Body Class, developed with fitness expert Jorge Cruz. It's a totally new way to work out that renews both your mind and your body. It targets every muscle. Start by toning and building strength, then stretch your muscles, get rid of stress, then relax your mind to feel rejuvenated and renewed. Call 1-800-WORKOUT or visit ballyfitness.com and get started for as little as $5 to start. Or just come in now to scratch and win. You can win up to a 1-year free membership during the Bally Spring Sweepstakes. It's new, and best of all, it can lead to an all-new you. Call 1-800-WORKOUT or visit valleyfitness.com and get started for as little as $5 to start. Or just come in now. You can win up to a 1-year free membership. New, better, Valley.
I thought it was beautiful.
They sang about peace, love, and flower power.
This is a great dream come true.
Became icons. Their lifestyles took them higher and higher.
She said nothing that feels this good can be all bad.
Till there was no place to go but down.
That was the turning point.
She was terrifically overweight and doing hard drugs.
She looked like she was near death.
Jimi Hendrix is dead.
The business killed him. Gone too soon. Starting tomorrow at 9. Only on Bio.
On an all-new Ghostly Encounters.
There's a lot of violence in that house.
Whatever was in there was evil.
When spirits get territorial.
I do think that there was more than one spirit in the house.
A family's dream home becomes a battle zone.
I woke up and I had this burn on my leg.
I had absolutely no control.
Something took him over. Sean actually said he felt like killing.
Ghostly Encounters, an all-new episode. Sunday at 8:30, only on Bio.
Alan, in cases like this, sometimes witnesses have been killed.
Oh, Edie, for 2 years in Korea, there was a whole army on the other side trying to kill me. They didn't even come close.
Maybe you could take a leave of absence from school. We could go away someplace.
And hide? Edie, I'm the wrong type for that. I'm just a mule-headed math teacher.
By 1958, after just 7 years in Hollywood, Charles Bronson had worked his way up from small supporting parts to become a B-movie star.
The goal was to keep working and eventually get larger and larger parts. I mean, this was his career, and this was the point of it all.
But at the age of 37, he was ready for the next step up and decided to take a chance on the small screen. By the mid-1950s, television had come into its own.
What do you want?
And Bronson's experience in film won him starring roles in a number of high-profile dramas and popular series.
Please, they're gonna kill me. You take me in there. You know that, don't you? Once we go up those steps, no power of yours, nothing you can do will get me out alive again.
Do you like it?
It's all gold.
I wanted you to have it.
Why?
So that people can ask you for the time of the day.
Okay, ask me.
What's the time, Jerry?
It's too late, Miranda.
Bronson hoped that TV would offer him a broader range of characters, but breaking out of his tough guy persona was difficult.
He was either playing fighters or thugs. So in order to get out of that, and fortunately he did get out of it, and the Man with the Camera series got him out of it.
Man with a Camera, starring Charles Bronson.
Premiering in 1958, Man with a Camera cast Bronson as Mike Kovac, a crime-solving photographer with an eye for danger.
Why didn't you let me help you? No, I will now if you let me. Sharon, why didn't you trust me?
It isn't trust, Mike. It's something else. The same reason I didn't meet you in London. You're a very real person. I'm not.
The series was sponsored by General Electric, who was promoting a new flashbulb, and Charlie became the product spokesperson.
Fellow asked me what was wrong with his baby picture. Look at all this dark area here. There's just not enough light. Now, if you'd used a flash, well, with even a simple camera like this, you can make sharp, clear baby shots. If you use a flash bulb that you can depend on. Now, I've been using these, GE Polymites.
Now, making $2,000 a week, a sum of money he could hardly have imagined as a boy, Charlie purchased his first home in the middle-class neighborhood of Cheviot Hills.
What it meant was we could afford a beautiful new home, and, you know, we remodeled it and we did a lot of things and we were entertaining, and Charlie didn't mind any of that. You know, he was easy.
Bronson, however, needed a sanctuary away from the demands of Hollywood. So he built a backyard art studio where he could be alone and paint.
He didn't paint to sell. In fact, some people bought his work and he bought it back. He couldn't part with any of his artwork.
While Man with a Camera firmly established Charles Bronson as a dynamic leading man, the starring roles he craved in A pictures failed to materialize. Rather than return to B movies or television, Bronson was convinced by his friend, director John Sturges, to accept a supporting part in his remake of the Japanese classic, The Seven Samurai. Released in 1960, The Magnificent Seven featured an ensemble cast of some of the hottest young actors in Hollywood. But Charlie rarely fraternized with his co-stars, which solidified his image as the quiet outsider.
Charlie was just a little bit, edgy most of the time. And typical Bronson, Charlie Bronson, Mr. Enigma.
Right from the start, Sturges saw Bronson as the epitome of the loner, the outsider, whose only rapport came with children. And I think it's the way Charlie saw himself in real life.
He had all those kids around him, and he played that very well because he himself was an extraordinarily loyal family man.
The Magnificent Seven was one of the most popular films of the year, and in a movie filled with tough characters, Charles Bronson stood out as the toughest of them all. Life seemed to be good for Bronson. He was back on the big screen in a hot picture, and at home, the actor's family had grown to include a son, Anthony Charles. But his busy schedule kept him from spending as much time with his wife and children as he would have liked.
He didn't make enough money for me to take Anthony and Suzanne with us with the nannies and whatever we had to do and have any money when we came back. Only the stars could do that. And at that time, Charlie was not starring in any movie.
The success of The Magnificent Seven opened up opportunities for most of its cast, but Hollywood producers still didn't see Bronson as leading man material.
Steve McQueen went out of Magnificent Seven, became a star almost overnight. James Coburn was not only nominated for an Academy Award, but became a bona fide star. And Charlie felt slighted, he felt frustrated, he felt exasperated.
Supporting roles, however, continued to serve Bronson well, and in 1963, he signed up for the World War II drama, The Great Escape. Playing Danny the Tunnel King, Bronson was forced to recall his time in the Pennsylvania coal mines.
Since I was a boy, I hate and feared little rooms, closets, caves.
Danny, you dug 17 tunnels, over 17
because
tunnels.
I must get out. I hide the fear, and I dig. But tomorrow night in the tunnel with all those men, I'm afraid maybe this time I will lose my head and ruin the escape for everybody.
I think the frustration and exasperation you saw in Danny at that point when he couldn't get through was the exasperation that Charlie felt in his early life when he couldn't get out of the mines.
Oh, God, he couldn't stand going down in that hole. I mean, it's a good action, to play a tunneler who has claustrophobia and have to go down into that hole. God, I have claustrophobia just thinking about it.
While shooting in Bavaria, Bronson, who was usually reserved with his co-stars, struck up an unlikely friendship with Scottish actor David McCallum.
David and Charlie were at the same hotel, and while they looked like Mutt and Jeff, David was a very pale and wan, kind of almost wispy Brit, and here was Charlie, this big, tough American.
Bronson also became friendly with McCallum's wife, actress Jill Ireland, who had come to visit her husband on location.
Jill came to town, and she was very sick. And David was working, and so Charlie took over. Charlie started tending to her, taking care of her. And he just fell madly in love with her, and, just...
The Great Escape went on to become one of the biggest blockbusters of the year and promised to break Charlie's career wide open.
That was huge. That was a big movie. Big everything.
But it wasn't Charlie's performance that was getting him attention. It was his off-screen relationship with Jill Ireland, who was still married to David McCallum, now starring in the hot new television series the man from U.N.C.L.E. Charlie and Jill tried to keep their romance secret, but rumors of the affair began to surface in the gossip columns.
When that whole incident became public in the fan magazine sector, then he couldn't control that.
By 1964, Bronson's wife had had enough, and in March, she filed for divorce, ending the couple's 16-year marriage.
In the end, it was my idea that we divorce because I couldn't live with the situation the way it was.
After the breakup, Charlie left the Hollywood gossip behind and returned to Europe for yet another World War II epic.
The Dirty Dozen.
Co-starring Lee Marvin and Ernest Borgnine, the film cast Bronson as a convicted killer, given the chance for parole if he survived a suicide mission behind enemy lines.
Charles Bronson as Vladislav.
The last guy in the world you'd expect to be a hero.
Charlie's goal was to continue working, to do bigger and better parts, and to make a lot of money. I mean, it's not very complicated.
With 3 hit films to his credit, Charles Bronson had established himself as one of the most sought-after character actors working in Hollywood. But at the age of 46, it seemed as if the financial rewards of being a big star had passed him by.
It's what I've been waiting for. It's L'Oreal's most natural high gloss color, New Natural Match. The only hair color with both 100% natural pomegranate and aloe. It nurtures hair while you color. All this and no ammonia. Color this shiny, this glossy. It's New Natural Match by L'Oreal.
Well, we're supposed to be there at 5 o'clock.
Hey, can you turn up the TV for me, please? That's the commercial I was talking about.
For just $7.95 a month per unit, Guaranteed Acceptance Life Insurance is available to people ages 50 to 85 through the Colonial Penn Program to help pay funeral costs and other final expenses.
Oh, that one. For Guaranteed Acceptance Life Insurance through the Colonial Penn Program.
Guaranteed Acceptance. I like that. Not so sure I'd pass the physical.
Don't worry. We were accepted.
You will not be required to take a medical exam of any kind. In fact, you don't even have to answer any health questions.
You mean you and Tom have this plan?
Sure do. I just got it. After I heard what Jan went through, I didn't want to have the same worries. You know, I read that a funeral, just the funeral, runs about $6,000 these days.
Really? Wow, I shouldn't put this off any longer. I just want to be sure I choose coverage I can afford and a company I can trust.
And with the Colonial Penn Program, the rates and guarantees are great when you're on a budget.
Just $7.95 a month per unit. That's about 25 cents a day. After the first 2 years, your benefit is guaranteed to never decrease. And your rate of just $7.95 a month per unit is guaranteed to never increase. What's more, just continue to pay your premiums and your coverage can never be canceled. Also guaranteed.
You don't see those kind of guarantees everywhere.
No, you don't. And look, this plan even builds cash value, something you can borrow against in the future.
It sounds so easy.
It is. See for yourself.
Can't hurt to call, right? Information's free?
Here, give them a call.
So pick up the phone and call now. You'll be glad you did.
Call 1-800-701-6196 for your free information kit and free gift, the latest handy guide to Social Security. There's no risk and no obligation. Call toll-free 1-800-701-6196 or visit colonialpenn.com. That's 1-800-701-6196. Call now.
I can't believe how fast SleepMD works.
Works so fast.
So fast.
I can't believe how fast SleepMD works.
A trusted team of medical doctors has a drug-free way to end sleepless nights. SleepMD. Start falling asleep in just minutes and sleep better and longer with exclusive time-release technologies.
I can sleep longer and wake up feeling totally refreshed.
I don't worry about the occasional sleepless night. I really trust and believe in SleepMD.
SleepMD is 100% drug-free.
Get America's #1 drug-free sleep aid at Supercenters, Walgreens, Rite Aid, and stores everywhere.
Don't hold back. Express yourself by asking your doctor about Botox Cosmetic. Visit BotoxCosmetic.com. Get some of your toughest questions answered about the one, the only Botox Cosmetic. It's all about freedom of expression.
On the next all-new Biography, a classical pianist with jerry curls, a high school football hero who won an Oscar. Outrageous talent made Eric Bishop a star, but what made him Jamie Foxx? Stand-up comedy.
If it sounded like you had a woman's name, you had a greater chance of getting called up.
He's come a long way, but to play Ray Charles, he went all the way.
Jamie Foxx would rehearse by gluing his eyes shut.
Jamie Foxx on an all-new Biography, tonight at 10, only on Bio.
She was just an empty shell.
She was depressed. She lost her son.
Her world was just gone.
While I sat in that room, there was something wrong with Anna.
She had said that I want to die under the covers, just like Marilyn Monroe.
You could obviously tell she was on drugs. No one could help her.
In 1967, fan magazines seemed more interested in rumors about Charles Bronson's affair with Jill Ireland than in the actor's more than 40 film performances. For years, they had been discreet, but when Jill's marriage to David McCallum ended, she and Charlie could be open about their relationship.
David just got kind of pushed out of the situation, and it turned out to be not a problem. David didn't object, and Charlie didn't apologize. It was easy and nice, and everybody was shocked. I mean, it truly was really extraordinary. But it took an extraordinary man to deal with it like that.
She made him laugh more than anybody I ever knew. She was a bright, sunshine girl in his life.
In the late 1960s, Hollywood was changing once again. A youth movement was pushing older actors out, and fortunately, European companies were eager to hire maturing American stars for their productions. British-born Jill encouraged Charlie to look to Europe for a chance at turning his career around.
Went over there to do a picture with Alain Delon. It was called Adieu l'ami, Farewell Friend. And then I was asked again to do a picture over there called Rider on the Rain. Now, neither picture was big here in America, but both of them were two of the best pictures I'd ever done.
If you're on business, I guess you could call it that. What kind of business?
Angie.
Charles Bronson takes the law into his own hands and squeezes it to death. Bronson is total action. Rider on the Rain.
All actors are migrant workers, and we go where the work is. And when he was asked to go to Europe to do work, that's where he went. And it was the best thing in the world for him. It's good he went there because they like American tough guys.
Bronson was now making more money than ever before, and his success across Europe brought him to the attention of Italian director Sergio Leone. Leone was the man responsible for transforming Clint Eastwood into an international star, and he had had his eye on Bronson for years.
Sergio Leone, the guy who did Fistful of Dollars and A Few Dollars More, he asked me to do those pictures, which I turned down. And then he wanted me to do The Ugly and Good, Bad, and Ugly, and I turned that down. Then he came along with Once Upon a Time in the West, and I kind of liked that.
In the epic Western, Once Upon a Time in the West, Bronson stood out as the mysterious drifter on the trail of a ruthless killer, played by Henry Fonda.
The gunman. The man in search of a name.
The European directors saw something in Charlie that the American directors had overlooked, and they took the basics that Charlie had to offer and packaged them in a new way, yet using the foundation that was always used for American heroes, the strong and silent type.
As Bronson traveled back and forth between California and Europe, Jill was always by his side. The couple's love for each other was stronger than ever, and on October 5th, 1968, Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland became husband and wife. Over the next 2 years, Charles Bronson worked steadily in Europe in a variety of films that built on his lone hero image.
Charles Bronson and Toshiro Mifune. Together, they're the greatest fighting machine the West has ever known, under the blaze of the Red Sun.
Red Sun brought a new twist to the Western by casting Bronson opposite Toshiro Mifune as a train robber forced to team up with a samurai warrior to retrieve a priceless Japanese sword.
Not dragging some greenhorn around the countryside.
Make no mistake, Kuroda is no ordinary man.
The Red Sun.
It isn't fiction. It's ruthless reality that still explodes in headlines.
In the Valachi Papers, Bronson tackled the true life story of notorious mobster turned informant, Joe Valachi.
If I betray the secret of the Cosa Nostra, this is the way I will die.
All of Charlie's hard work was finally paying off, and at the age of 50, he was fast becoming one of the most popular actors in the world. In Spain, he dethroned bullfighter El Cordobés as the #1 male sex symbol. In Italy, he was known as Il Bruto, and in Japan, he was lionized as the ideal Western cowboy.
A lot of actors, leading men, are through when they're 40. When they get to be 40, they're over the hill. But Charlie, he was just revving up.
The success he was enjoying allowed Charlie to start living like a star for the first time in his life. In addition to a Bel Air estate, Bronson bought an 18th century Vermont farm where Jill could keep horses and Charlie could house his growing collection of motorcycles.
He was kind of carried away with all of the fame and the money and so forth. I once said to him, you know, you're paying for a home you don't live in. I mean, what is this all about? And he said to me, I guess I'm getting carried away.
While it may have seemed ostentatious, the large house provided a stable environment for Jill and Charlie's children, including their newborn daughter, Zuleika. In 1972, Bronson received his first nod of approval from the Hollywood establishment when he and Sean Connery shared the Golden Globe for world's favorite male film actor.
He was very hot in Europe. He really didn't mean anything in America, but he was getting kind of hotter, and these were comparatively low-budget pictures in their day. So United Artists had to go with him on mechanic.
His name is Bishop. He's as methodical as a machine, as precise as a computer. Bishop is a mechanic. He specializes in body work.
The Mechanic was Bronson's first American film in years. His portrayal of a cool, quiet killer perfectly captured the essence of what made Bronson so popular.
You ever hear the term mechanic used outside its normal meaning?
Yeah, a hitman. So?
So there we are.
I think Charlie was really the gentle savage. You felt that he had a heart.
The low-budget film wasn't the breakthrough hit Bronson was looking for, but it did bring him to the attention of producer Dino De Laurentiis.
Charlie's now the #1 international movie star, and he finally comes home as a star, signs a 3-picture deal with Dino De Laurentiis at the unheard-of price, at least for Charlie, of $1 million per picture.
Now, one of the top-paid stars in the world, Bronson had high hopes that the De Laurentiis films would catapult him to American stardom. But when the first 2 movies under his new contract were met with the same chilly reception in the United States as his previous films, Charles Bronson felt he would forever be thought of as a second-class star in Hollywood.
On the next Crime Stories, a frantic call to police.
Mama, I killed Dave.
Was it a case of self-defense?
When I got there, walked in and saw the naked body, knew that this was not just an ordinary shooting.
Or murder committed to cover a crime.
He had killed Carl because he had a warehouse full of bodies. We didn't believe him. When we opened the door, I knew the boy was telling the truth.
Crime Stories, Friday at 10, only on Bio. On the next Truth Behind the Sitcom Scandals, find out why One Day at a Time was too fast for Mackenzie Phillips. Nobody was getting any pie on the Jeffersons.
We did get some hate mail.
And Happy Days seemed like an oxymoron.
She said that somebody had abused her.
The Truth Behind the Sitcom Scandals, One Day at a Time, The Jeffersons, and Happy Days. Tuesday at 10, only on Bio.
Over the last several months, we've been talking with everyone eligible for Medicare about the money-saving health plans from Humana. These are all-in-one plans that combine medical coverage and prescription drug coverage, all with no or low monthly plan premiums. If you have a separate drug plan with Original Medicare or with a Medicare supplement, you could be getting more benefits and saving money with Humana's Medicare health plan. Could Humana be a better value for your healthcare dollar? Here's a quick way to find out. Call 1-800-552-6474 and get this free booklet that will help you decide if our all-in-one plans are right for you. More than 1 million people have made the call and are enjoying Humana's all-in-one Medicare plans. The facts you need are in the book. There's no obligation and it's totally free, but you have to make the call. That's 1-800-552-6474.
Cat lovers, stop messing with litter box mess. Change to Cat Genie, the world's only self-flushing, self-washing cat box. Cat Genie uses permanent washable granules that never need changing. Cat Genie removes and flushes all cat waste out of the home, then washes, sanitizes, and dries the granules, all for your kitty's health and comfort. Stop wasting money on litter. Call now for special Cat Genie offers. Visit our website. Try it 90 days risk-free. See Cat Genie. You'll never touch, smell, or buy cat litter again. Call and visit now.
You don't have to suffer. Premier Bathrooms brings freedom to your life.
It's just peace of mind has been great.
And now it's so lovely just to be able to go in. I want to go in.
Premier Bathrooms' custom bath and shower enclosures are easy to step into, feature sturdy hand grips and safety bars, secure locking mechanisms, and comfortable seats. Every Premier bathroom tub and shower is backed by an unconditional, no-quibble guarantee on all parts and labor.
It just is, it's very soothing and it's very relaxing, and it really does get rid of muscle tension and stress.
We really liked it.
Premier walk-in baths come complete with bath fittings and accessories to bring value and beauty to your home. Ease away tension and pain with Premier Bathrooms' patented hydrotherapy jets. Premier Bathrooms has meant freedom and safety to thousands of customers across Europe and North America.
Call 1-888-238-4119 for your free information kit.
Grand Sierra Resort and Casino, the resort that gives you more value. Room rates starting at $49. Book online at GrandSierraResort.com and get $50 in match play and your choice of another $50 dining credit or a $50 spa service. Just call 1-800-648-5080 or go to GrandSierraResort.com. Just click on Hot Deal.
With most car insurance companies, when you have an accident, you have to run around town to get estimates, track down a rental car, and then you have to keep calling to see if your car is ready. With Progressive, just go to their concierge center. Give them a call, drop off your car, and they give you a rental. Progressive even guarantees the work.
Taking care of everything for you. And that's Progressive. Call or click today.
By 1974, gas shortages, the Watergate scandal, and urban strife were putting the nation on edge. Fears about crime and violence were reflected in gritty television shows like Police Story in the streets of San Francisco, and movies like Dirty Harry and The French Connection. The time seemed ripe for an action star like Charles Bronson, and for his third picture with De Laurentiis, the 53-year-old teamed up with director Michael Winner.
I was going back to Kennedy Airport with Charlie. He said, "What should we do next?" And I said, "Well, I've got this script called Death Wish. It's about a man whose wife and daughter are mugged, and he goes out and shoots muggers." And Charlie said, "We said, I'd like to do that." I said, "The movie?" He said, "No, I'd like to go and shoot muggers."
Death Wish cast Bronson as a New York architect who takes the law into his own hands after hoodlums kill his wife and rape his daughter.
This
This is the story of a man who decided to clean up the most violent town in the world. Call him a mad vigilante. Call him a hero. Either way, he's always on target. Never make a death wish. Because a death wish always comes true. And you get to love it.
The public, of course, went bananas. I mean, they had wanted to see Charlie clear up the streets, which at the time the New York police were utterly incapable of doing. It was the greatest audience satisfaction movie.
Groceries, man.
There were villains attacking people in their own home, and Charlie Bronson was going out and murdering them. Well, there's a thrill in that, you know.
Death Wish was one of the biggest hits of 1974, not just overseas, but in America.
Suddenly he had this really big hit movie that everyone was talking about. On the whole, people didn't talk about Charlie Bronson movies, they went to see them. Death Wish was in the editorials, it was in feature articles. It absolutely galvanized America in the summer of '74.
Charlie's hard-earned popularity finally allowed him to pick and choose his roles, and he was often drawn to projects that allowed him to work opposite his wife, Jill.
He always desperately wanted to work with his wife, so he would take a film when it was a part for the wife, often ahead of something that might have been better for his career. But, you know, he had his own rules, and I admire him for it.
One of the films that brought Charlie and Jill together on screen was the Depression-era drama Hard Times, co-starring his longtime friend, James Coburn.
Columbia Pictures presents Hard Times, starring Charles Bronson as Cheney, a drifter.
When I get enough change in my pocket, I'm going.
A loner.
I got a husband in jail, no job, and no prospects.
I don't look past the next bend in the road.
A man had to live by his wits, or by his fists.
Charlie's ability at that time as a fighter in the cage was remarkable. I mean, he was going, pow, you know, and everybody that got in the ring with him was scared from him because Charlie wasn't holding back anything, you know. He loved intimidating people. He did. I think he got kind of a joy out of doing that.
Throughout the late 1970s, Bronson continued to challenge himself in a series of unconventional films, but was unable to repeat the box office success of Death Wish.
I don't think he knew what was best for him, and so he tended to make fairly similar movies again and again. He had a chance when he could have broken through, and I know the pictures he didn't do, and it's a pity.
In 1981, Bronson returned to the kind of tough guy role audiences expected from him, this time co-starring with Lee Marvin in 20th Century Fox's action thriller, Death Hunt.
Johnson, we've got a bad situation out here. I have a bunch of savages out here just aching to splatter you all over the place. They don't want your side told. They'll either kill you or get themselves killed trying.
You can't stop it.
Hold it!
Two men of equal courage face each other as enemies and triumph as heroes along the last frontier.
There he is! We got him!
Death Hunt.
The film went largely unnoticed, however, and the following year, Bronson agreed to revive the character that made him famous 8 years earlier in Death Wish. Making the decision more enticing was the fact that Bronson would be co-starring with his wife, Jill.
By the time Charlie returned to Death Wish, he knew it was necessary. He knew the chances were we'd have a hit. It was a good story, and he saw it as a vehicle to reinvigorate his career.
Although the film didn't have the same jarring impact as the original, Death Wish 2 was an even bigger hit at the box office. Charles Bronson was back on top again, and the actor basked in the fame that he had worked so hard to achieve. But in 1984, a personal crisis threatened to take away the one thing Charlie treasured most of all. During a routine breast exam, Jill was diagnosed with advanced cancer and had to undergo immediate surgery. Charlie comforted his wife through 6 months of grueling chemotherapy, and slowly, Jill's cancer went into remission. With her health returning, Ireland was able to start enjoying life once again.
They say you have to live, day by day, and then you live hour by hour, and if you get really good, you live in the moment.
By 1987, it looked as if Jill's recovery was complete, and she took the opportunity to tell her story in a book entitled Life Wish.
I was invited to the press party, and he just sat on the side and just was so pleased, just so happy with what he saw. Willing to stay in the back again as a private person. But it brought her happiness, and it made him very, very happy that it did.
Seeing his wife healthy again meant more to Charlie than anything in the world. But the couple's fight against cancer wasn't over yet.
I thought it was beautiful.
They sang about peace, love, and flower power.
This is a great dream come true.
Became icons. Their lifestyles took them higher and higher.
She said nothing that feels this good can be all bad.
Till there was no place to go but down.
That was the turning point.
She was terrifically overweight and doing hard drugs.
She looked like she was near death.
Jimi Hendrix is dead.
The business killed him.
Gone too soon. Starting tomorrow at 9. Only on Bio.
She was just an empty shell.
She was depressed. She lost her son.
Her world was just gone.
While I sat in that room, there was something wrong with Anna.
She had said that I want to die under the covers, just like Marilyn Monroe.
You could obviously tell she was on drugs. No one could help her.
Today, we're observing the Geico Gecko, an extraordinary creature with a most curious adaptation. The ability to save people hundreds of dollars on their car insurance. Let's watch.
That's odd.
Whoa. Fascinating.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
If you got a real mess and want to clean like the pros, then you've got to see this. Hi, Billy Mays here with Zorbees, the most absorbent material I've ever used. It has the strength and the muscle to pick up and hold over 20 ounces of liquid. Look at this. Zorbees attracts liquid like a magnet. It doesn't matter if it's coffee, soda, even red wine. Watch as its powerful vacuum action pulls and cleans the stain from out of the carpet just that quick. The secret's in the X27 fiber technology, making Zorbees over 27 times more absorbent than cotton. Forget towels that just drip, and unlike sponges that smell, Zorbees is odor-free and leaves a path of clean. Now you can clean and dry and never leave anything behind. You'll be amazed at just how much they absorb. And they're machine washable. Dry your entire car, even your dog. Use any cleaner for streak-free windows. An average family uses up to 2 rolls of paper towels every week. That's cash in the trash. Save money and even help save the environment. You get 2 jumbo Zorbees plus 3 extra large for only $14.99. But call right now, and I'll send you another 5 Zorbees absolutely free. That's 10 Zorbees for only $14.99. And as a special bonus, we'll also include our Micromen microfiber duster, free. It's great for blinds, plants, glass, and more, and attracts dust like a magnet. That's a $60 value, all for only $14.99. And here's the best part. We'll send you a set of Zorbees free whenever you need them for life. Just pay shipping and processing. But you gotta call now.
To order Zorbees, call 1-800-296-0703. That's 1-800-296-0703. So call 1-800-296-0703 and order today.
I can't believe how fast SleepMD works.
Works so fast.
So fast.
I can't believe how fast SleepMD works.
A trusted team of medical doctors has a drug-free way to end sleepless nights. SleepMD. Start falling asleep in just minutes and sleep better and longer with exclusive time-release technologies. I can sleep longer and wake up feeling totally refreshed.
I don't worry about the occasional sleepless night. I really trust and believe in SleepMD.
SleepMD is 100% drug-free.
Get America's #1 drug-free sleep aid at Supercenters, CVS, Rite Aid, and stores everywhere.
he shot the gun, I think that it was just to make sure. He turned and shot me one more time.
The plane hit a tree. That caused the roof of the plane to rip off.
I felt like my only chance for survival was to keep my head together.
I Survived. Series premiere Monday at 9. Only on Bio.
By the end of the 1980s, Charles Bronson's career had stalled. Although he continued to work steadily, he was typecast as the Silent Avenger in a series of exploitation films, including 2 more installments in the Death Wish series. But at the age of 67, Charles Bronson felt he had simply outgrown his action hero image. Still, the actor counted his blessings. He was financially secure, and his wife Jill appeared to be healthy again. But in 1989, Jill's cancer returned, and despite her doctor's best efforts, treatment couldn't save her.
God, I was heartsick for Charlie because I knew what that must have been doing to him, no matter, whether he showed it or not. It was, as stoic as he may be, he had a love for that woman that was real, man. It was real and it was deep.
On May 18th, 1990, Jill Ireland passed away with Charlie by her side in the couple's Malibu home.
They were beautiful together. It was just unbelievable that she could die so young. Really, really sad.
After his wife's death, Charles Bronson was no longer interested in making the kind of violent films that had made him famous. He was looking for a change of pace.
I had heard that Charles Bronson wanted to do something different. Not Death Wish 76, something else. And I just took a chance. I said, he might just go for this. The part of Frank Church, a man who wrote the most famous editorial in the world, Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus.
In the television movie, Bronson plays a man who has just lost his wife and struggles with a crisis of faith.
Charles knew that character. He couldn't help but identifying with what had happened to Frank Church. I'm sure that it was always the ghost of Jill Ireland there.
After the experience of filming Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus, Bronson began to use his fame in a more positive way. Charlie helped organize a celebrity art show to benefit the American Cancer Society, for whom Jill had been a spokesperson. Bronson continued to reinvent himself, and in 1991, he took on his first supporting role in years in the critically acclaimed film, The Indian Runner, directed by his friend and neighbor, Sean Penn. At an age when most actors are fading away, Charlie was still in demand, and throughout the 1990s he starred in a variety of television movies, as well as a final installment of the popular Death Wish series. Charlie also began to rebuild his personal life when he began dating one of his co-stars, actress Kim Weeks.
He spent quite a few lonely years, but then Charles had the good fortune to meet and fall in love with, what can I say, she's a lady.
On December 22nd, 1998, Charles Bronson and Kim Weeks were married in a private civil ceremony in Malibu. Now retired, Bronson and his new bride spend their time away from Hollywood at the star's secluded Vermont farmhouse. Charles Bronson, the hard-working coal miner's son from Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, has never let fame go to his head. Instead, the international superstar continues to measure his success by the close bonds he shares with his friends and family.
I think he's pretty proud of all the children, and I think he's proud of the career he's had.
Charlie has never changed or took it seriously that it went to his head. He was just a good human being that was tough.
Charlie will be remembered as the ultimate action hero, but with a heart, and with this extraordinary face. Very unfilm star-like face.
He makes you care for him, and that's a quality. If you don't have it, you're not going to learn it.
Without Charlie Bronson, I think the whole world would be, a little different. He penetrated a place in my heart that I love him.